As the leading data lineage and metadata management solution, Solidatus empowers data-rich and regulated organizations to achieve connected governance with an enterprise data blueprint. A blueprint, specifically in the context of cloud migration, is an interactive visualization of how your data flows and its connection to the obligations that regulate it, your policies that guide it, and your processes that create or use it. This Solidatus demonstration will show how it is far better to understand and then migrate than it is to migrate and then try to understand. On this view of Solidatus, it shows the current topography of source systems, reporting mainframe, reporting global, and reporting China. We can see black tags up here at the top of each column, what we call layers, showing the data is being held on-prem, and the objective is to move it onto a cloud, either on GCP or AWS. We can expand out any of these objects to show the attributes or data fields held within these reports. Also, you can see objects with this sensitive tag, which can be expanded to show that they contain cloud-sensitive data, which have been highlighted. Each country has its own rules to the treatment of sensitive data, and these can be stored in a glossary, in what we call a reference model. Any sensitive data in the lineage model can be linked to the appropriate rules in these reference models. In this situation, we have a cloud platform that is GCP that's empty for now. We also have a cloud that is AWS, again is empty for now. In Solidatus, we use display rules to build logically provable policy into a model that interactively helps plan a cloud migration. Let's have a look at some of these rules. We can see here, these two here, source not local, and toxic location. If we open these up, this means that source not local means that you're okay if you are global and on-prem, but you're not okay if your sourcing is from somewhere not local. And we see the toxic location. We can see that you have data that is being sent to not where cloud provider is located. It's not globally valid and is not on-prem. What we want to show is, if data is globally valid, it can be transferred and processed anywhere. If source data is restricted to local use only, it can be processed either locally, on-prem, or in a cloud in the same environment. At present, everything we have is on-prem, and it's fine, as we have no alert tags. The business has a cloud migration policy and wants to use GCP as its main cloud vendor, except where hypothetically GCP doesn't exist in a location such as China, where they can use AWS. Now we do our migrations. We are simulating what happens given our policies if we move some of our reports. Take this one for example. We shall move it to here. Here we can still see the global report still sourcing its data from on-prem. That's okay, as we know the global report can be anywhere, but in this case we prefer our global repository to be GCP. There's no alerts. Now we'll try this one from China. If we move the China report, it's held in China to GCP. The red alert tags tell us the source isn't local. There we go there. What we'll do is we'll put a show trace on. Using our trace function, we can see the lineage of this report. In this case, the source in a source systems layer properties has the location UK. And the target object, the property, is China. We said all sourcing had to be local unless it was an original source of data. But here we have some source processes that are not operationally independent. They are on-prem and in the UK, but here we have it's Chinese. We also see toxic location as the report layer is in the UK, not in China as per the object, as we've seen. This is an example of using Solidatus display rules to reflect policy. We now need to clear some of these problems. In the first instance, it's logical to move the report to China, which I'll do so here. You've now cleared the toxic location alert out. But we haven't cleared the source, not local, alert. That is because if we isolate, which we'll do by using the show trace function, the incoming feeds for this report, they are on-prem and they are supposed to be in a position where they are locally and operationally independent unless they are original sources. Let's undo these changes, as they only work for one of our two rules. As you can see, what we can do is play around with the data, which can be enormously difficult if you don't know all the rules in detail. In Solidatus, the rules provided by SMEs are in the model, which helps non-experts deal with the rules in a really easy way. Now let's take this object and its sources, and we'll copy these into our AWS. I'll just shift the sources into source systems AWS. We now have a situation of operational independence. Report profile definition has no red flags. If we do a focus trace on our source objects, we can see it's sending data back to on-prem. That's okay, as we do have data that's necessary for the global report coming from Chinese data. So we have an environment where we have data source on-prem, another data source off-prem, but feeding bits of data on-prem, and we've segregated out some Chinese data. We can now re-domicile some of the Chinese data by changing the property target region to CN to here. Change this like so. Now we will complete the data migration to the Chinese cloud. And we'll go back, delete the data now. You can see that we have one alert tag. To clear this, we simply delete the redundant transitions from our on-prem source to China. This needs to be done like this. Thus, the tag has disappeared. We now have a good model of a Chinese report being driven by Chinese data. The last thing to do is to finish our migration, and so we need to send our other data to GCP. we now have a full, happily migrated environment with hybrid cloud and off-prem. We've done that in a completely easy simulation without asking for permission for data. There are no red flags on the screen, so we can go ahead and use it as our specification. This can be used to drive some DevOps and let the developers migrate to the cloud. This is an important way of demonstrating that not only are you a policy-driven company, but you also have control over your data. This model can be saved to show you the before and after picture. Here we will go back to our version control. And we can see changes since this revision. Using Solidatus version control shows stakeholders exactly what has happened over time and all the differences that have been made. In Amber, you see we have moved a whole bunch of data items out of off-prem. This is a nice demonstration of the time element of what we're trying to capture. We have the before picture, and we also have the after picture. Click hold, click view. You can govern and show good transparency to stakeholders. In summary, Solidatus captures in data visualization, governance and planning, streamline migration process leading to reduced costs, minimized risks, improved scalability, enhanced security, and overall efficiency in transitioning to cloud-based infrastructures.